tell about all the great stuff you and Christy are doing there, and the history about Tech Talk Studios that I came to know in the last SOCAP conference in October.
Okay, well, we feel a little bit of a disadvantage here because we are brand new to your organization, but we're very happy to meet you all. We live in Marin County, which is just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. We're based in San Francisco. Our professional company, our company, how we make money, is called Tech Talk Studio. And we do a very specialized kind of marketing and executive coaching with companies based around conferences and public speaking. So we help design firms, technology companies, nonprofits to become great speakers and place them in conferences. We also work with conference producers like South by Southwest, like Forbes, like The Economist, and help them build their conference. We've worked with Kevin Jones to help him build some of the content for SOCAP. The other work that we do, I am chairman of the Business and Leadership Forum at an organization called the Commonwealth Club of California. The Commonwealth Club is a very old, prestigious public affairs forum based on the West Coast. It's 100 years old. Everyone from Franklin Roosevelt to Coffee and Naan to Hillary Clinton to very small local programs as well. So I'm chairman of the Business and Leadership Forum there. Because it's a very conservative-based organization, I do regular programs there, but I've also been able to do a number of programs around social capital. Each year before the SOCAP conference, we do a special SOCAP series with Kevin Jones and Rosalie and a number of other people. I can send anybody, those have been videotaped. You can find them on YouTube as well. So I try to do some of the regular expected things, and I'm able to sneak in some radical things on the side as well. The other thing that we've been doing a lot of local events here. We just did an event last week called Text a City about the upper market area in San Francisco and about affordable housing. So Christy and I are married. We're business partners, but we're also married. It was very nice. I met Bert-Ola through the SOCAP Facebook conversation. We connected on Facebook, and then we met in person at SOCAP here in September and had a wonderful time. He was the best part of the whole conference for us, and so now it's very nice. We are based in San Francisco, but we're around the country. But we're very excited to hook up with all of you. So we've been quite involved with SOCAP. We're friends with Kevin Jones. But with Christy, my partner, and my wife too, Christy has been very involved in a number of things around health and very sick children and their health and finding alternative answers for things. Christy is on the board of an organization that's called Autism One. Autism One puts on a large conference here, about 1,000 people. I'll let her tell you about some of that.
Ah, great. Welcome, Christy.
Hi, thank you, Bert-Ola. Nice to meet you, everyone. So from our company's Tech Talk Studio, I've been involved in conferences and speaking for my whole career. I was an accidental entrepreneur back in 1991 when I started an organization here in San Francisco that was it was called San Francisco Shine, and what I did at that point was to bring the hotel community together in San Francisco and the homeless community together to create an organization which would meet the needs of community, of visitors, of business, and of people that were trying to find their way back into having a regular life. So I started that in 1991, and that was a year process, but that entrepreneur bug started for me then. I was tapped to start the speakers division of a high-tech PR firm here back in '97, and we launched Yahoo, we launched MapQuest, a lot of the tech folks that you see today, and especially Apple. When Steve Jobs came back to Apple, I was part of that launch team that came out with the iMac. So I was not a tech person but I got drawn right into it. And so ever since then, Kevin and I, for 15 years, have had this company and work with technology, education, design. And so that's one piece. The secondary piece for me is that I'm very much about community and very much about health from the planet to people and all beings, actually. And so I've been very, very active in understanding all the issues that are playing out globally around all the environmental things we have going on and how that impacts and affects especially the children, but beyond, whether it's a child that's just born or someone who is 90 and is dealing with Alzheimer's, really working in that specifically. So part of my love around all this is we know people all over and have the wonderful side effect, actually, of our work of being engaged in multiple conversations that are going on at any time in any place. And so because of that, we get to understand and know and be a part of lots of people trying to move good, right things forward. And so we sit at that intersection, and that's a very important place for us. And we like to be able, we are bridge builders, and we like to take, we call it the 1,000 degrees of separation. Part of our sweet spot is we take people who think they have no reason to know each other from opposite ends of the spectrum of their beliefs and what's happening in their life and their work and their world, and we bring them together to find that place where they both intersect. And that is what we most like to do. So that's yes, it, right? That's it, yeah.
A lot of our work professionally has been with the design community. So a lot of what we do is design and technology. Also, we work with associations, nonprofits, museums. But we find that bringing the cross-pollination and the hybrid things, that bringing together people and things that wouldn't know each other to create an explosion of new energy. We've also been very fortunate because we are in the business world as well, that we are able to bring in fairly radical ideas under cover of executive coaching or under cover of speaker training. We help people see alternate possibilities, and we are able to bring a message that is seen as a little bit, as what would traditionally be seen as a non-profit message into the profit world. And we're extremely excited about the whole SOCAP principle. We've been able to be part of SOCAP for the last 4 years, and because we're here in San Francisco, we have access to those people. And so I think that's enough for us. That gives you some idea of us. But we're very excited to be connected with all of you. Bert-Ola has introduced us to people all over the world that we never would have met without social media. So whenever I think Facebook is just wasting my time and stealing my life force, then I get reminded of these great connections that we get to have by meeting all of you. So thank you.
It's great to hear you there, Christian, Kevin, and let's have a small questions later here. But now let's try Lapland again, if you can hear us there. I know that you can hear us, but will it function there so we can hear you? That would be great.
Yeah, do you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ah, perfect. Woohoo!
Yeah. So tell us about what you're doing there and your reflections about today.
Yeah. Today was the first event called the Glocal Future, and it was really whole day discussing local action and as looking at local action as the future, actually, because it's us taking things in our own hands and doing things that is the future. So that's the start of this event, actually. And we have together at our home in Vålerenga shared examples from our neighborhood or our village, actually. And we have tried out this new way of being interactive with Twitch chat, and also tried the live stream concept. So it has really been an exciting day, and hopefully some of you have been looking into the things that have been going on here. So yeah, Odin.
Yeah, and first of all, just thank you very much, Bert-Ola and Willie, for your kind assistance to make it possible also for us to get out there. It has been a lot of learning in those technical things and a lot of experiences there. So, like Anders said, we've been exploring the area, what is a good ground for making local commitment and local action continuously, not just a peak and then it gets to sleep again, but what needs to be in place, what is the success factors to make it be continuous. I also can say there is a microphone which is not muted there. We hear a ringing also. Yes, and during the day we also had visitors over the internet from Finland, Pedersöre, which is a municipality, which has, in some way they're outstanding in the way they are rural area. They have increasing population all the last 10-20 years. They have nearly zero unemployment among youth. They have a system where youth go through the school, but there is a very good connection with jobs after the school in industry, and they are doing a high degree, 60% what it produces export, and the most significant thing about that area was they shared or like we experienced when we visit them also, they have this great we, and the we is there is not those who are working in the government or those businessmen or those people in the civil society. It's the big we. We are solving this. Okay, there is a problem. We have to solve it. So, shortly said, our impression from Pedersöre today. We also had Bergsjön visiting us over the net and sharing about Tikitu.
Tikitu, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting concept for people visiting an area and getting real meeting with locals. Concept which has the force to grow. And we also had it was those, and we looked at more than the discussion went on this call it success factors, what needs to be in place, what makes it feel engaging, attractive, inviting to commit to a task in an area or in a village or in a place where you live, wherever you live on this earth. But what are these things that makes an individual feel, oh, here I want to commit, here I want to go in and do my part?
And what are the key factors? I heard one sentence from Anders today when he was summarizing. I have already put them on the tweet, but I hope you can give it back, your short summary or excellent sentence there. What is the key to success in local development?
One of the keys is to really have the self-engagement. People need to be self-engagement. It can never come from another place. when there is a issue to solve where you live, and enough people are engaged and engaged to solve the problem for this village or city, and just start. That is one of the clues. It's natural to want to contribute to something that is bigger than myself, and that is one of the key factors.
I heard Anders said there yesterday, you use what you have trust in yourself, and you have a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah.
It was a great summary.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And it's really also to not to have any. Everybody is equal, actually. If you're young people, elder people, or businessmen or whatever, so it's and what you do together has to be transparent. What you do together has to be fun. What you do together is like I don't know how I should express it, but it's more like it's you feel like doing your put your piece to the puzzle.
Okay. And a final short question before we go to Giorgio. Who is in the background there? You have a great portrait there behind.
Oh, that is Ulf Westphal, one of our great. He's a fantastic example of don't give up. Possible. He's a historiker. He's passed away this summer, but he actually grounded the 6,000-year-old settlements. Find the 6,000-year-old settlements and build up a museum that is fantastic in this area.
Okay. So thank you very much. We'll have a few questions later. And we go to Giorgio Bertine, and he's an amazing person that we have, I think lots of people have learned to know by his incredible articles that you sent out and make summarizing about societal learning, system dynamics, networks, and the rest. I think you can tell what you are doing. It's great.
Okay, thank you, Bert.
Well,
yeah. My name is Giorgio Bertini, and I would like to talk about action learning change for a sustainable human-centered global future, with some reflections coming from the experience I have been having from a project I created and developed centered in empowered change agents and society. This has been a project that I designed several years ago from my experience working 25 years as a consultant for United Nations in social and economic development, working with many dozens of communities and in many countries and projects. That I realized that the main problem was that the societies and communities need to be empowered to re-embed the economy, education, health, need to be empowered themselves for their own change. And for that reason, I started designing a project based on building a large library of reading to support and guide the learning process of change agents working with those communities. The library has been growing. Now is around 5,000 written posts in 8 blogs, working with many small group of change agents, small I mean 5 to 7, for a better dialogical and relation space, supporting their develop as a network of small group at the village or community level, and supporting all those networks into alliances with local high school or school, regional or local universities, alliances with intellectuals and professionals, helping them to network and netweave a whole set of relations, local, national, and international, from a local mind into a global mind, from people working alone towards people working together, sharing experiences and sharing knowledge, from learning alone to peer-to-peer coaching, from changing alone to systemic change. Because the most crucial point was helping them to change, and nothing more empowering than learning. Learning to change and being changed by learning. Because learning is a transformative experience for the people themselves and through them, societies. Then I start facilitating and supporting their learning, social learning, to go into lifelong learning for change. And that's the best way to empower society and empower communities. Because learning is not only transformative, but it's a way of netweave and network themselves with the rest of the world. And that fact has been an experience of supporting and facilitating their learning chain to re-embed education away from memory-based education and into inquiry-based education, to tackle complex problems, to tackle wicked problems. They have to learn to live with complexity because they live in a complex world, in a perfect storm, a system of storms. It's not possible for them to work in straight line solutions that are dangerous. They need to be careful to go into understand the complex situation. And for that, they need to go into a systemic way, together with many people, gathering and organizing, learning together, and toward that social learning, going into re-embedding education, health, the economy that has been going wild because vested interests have been marginalizing society and economy. And for them re-embedding, they need to learn how to do it. And that has been the purpose of the project, to work on transformative learning, to facilitate, support all those re-embedding process of hundreds and hundreds of change agents we have been forming and facilitating their work. Well, all this idea has been under the creation, development, and learning change project. That is a project on actual learning systemic change, supporting self-organized small group, network of small group, into local and regional alliances with university, high school, intellectuals, and professionals. After 7 years of work, we can say that we have showed the way for them to navigate and to go into different lines of flight, into a set of disciplines, being able to navigate with different thinkers, and in actual learning, always building relational and dialogical social flows, without giving never preset standard curriculums or facilitate always discovery and the empowerment of learning that are needed to understand change in a complex world. Well, now in a project, we, after 7 years work, besides building this library, and besides have been working with hundreds of change agents in a small group, I will continue to develop those blogs. And next year, I will start another 3 blogs. A blog with learning videos. There are 100 now available. It's just a matter of doing what I've been doing. I am an action researcher. I am a curator. I read a lot. I am a filter. I synthesize and relate one issue to others, building a complex concept map. And besides the learning video, the blog I will prepare a blog with podcasts for mobile learning that are hundreds already, for the people to listen and learning whatever they are, at school, at the work, on the car, on the bus, or at home. And a 3rd blog about ebooks with reading lists prepared from the reading I've already posted in my blog. The main idea of all this reading is to organize local conversation group, local relational and dialogical spaces to read together, talk, establish a human conversation, and to understand how to change from their own situation. Learning to read their world, to change it. That's the only way. We avoid completely to give receipts. They have to learn by themselves. They have to change themselves and their societies by themselves. It's not possible to do it for them. They have to do it. And now, what we can do is support that learning. And for all the continuance of my project, I am beginning to develop a community of action researchers working together in a wider set of disciplines and topics. Lately, in 1 or 2 years, I would like with that community to develop rhizomatically a distributed autopoietic knowledge system for social science. That has been my experience, and those are my plans. And I like very much to share it with you, and I'm far open to all your suggestions because I am a good listener. Thank you very much.
Just a short question there. How many articles do you read a day? how do you follow all these academic articles you tell about? I think maybe it fell away. Okay, so we go from the wide network and to Jennifer Sertle, who I think here is the perfect match to look into the personal leadership. And she's really a thought leader here in social media and the transformation of the individual, I think, the individual leadership. So Jennifer, the floor is yours. Tell about yourself, what you're doing.
Thank you very much. And when I think of the conversation about global and local, I'd like to take it to micro, local, and local. I am an existential philosopher who went to University of Colorado. I have a mother who is mentally ill. And the beautiful thing about that is that I was very, very young, between 5 and 8 years old, when I realized that my life was different and that she was different. And they didn't have the laws and the restrictions that they had on children. So I spent a lot of my early cognitive time visiting her in hospitals, where I would actually play and drink chocolate milk and play ping pong with people that were mentally ill. I'm sure it was a survival strategy in the way I learned to cope with the situation. But what I realized was that people were experiencing realities that were different than my own. And I had a real fundamental belief that reality was something that you made up. And it became something very playful. And now in a world of collective intelligence, where we have multiple worldviews and we have multiple frames of reference, I'm actually at home. This is kind of how I grew up. This is the playground where I grew up. And what I find is that people have believed that there was a reality outside of themselves and are trying to hold on to a reality they thought was, rather than their interpretation. So on a real tactical level, I work with people and organizations to examine how they filter information, how they make sense out of that information, and to ask the question, is the way that you're filtering really useful today? Are your inputs accurate? I often will say awareness is not enough. A lot of people are aware of things, but it doesn't actually change their behavior. So I invite people that in order to truly make a difference, I'd like the difference that they make to begin with themselves. You know, be more respectful to you as an input in a system. I see so many people that see themselves as separate from the system, which is why I believe they objectify others and objectify outside of the system. So I feel like I might be getting too theoretical. I don't want to do that. And so to ground myself, I actually brought this globe, and it's beautiful. I hope you can see it. And it, you know, it has, you can hold the world in your hand. And today with social media, you can, you know, make a statement and it can amplify. And I just feel people are not prepared to put their imprint in the world. I don't believe they've examined who they are and who they can be, so that when they make an imprint, whether it be a simple tweet, whether it be a request, whether it design a business, I don't think they really understand how impactful their choices are, and how important it is that they themselves are centered in what they intend to create. And so that's why I say that, you know, I'm of the terrain of the micro-local, which is really yourself. I say in the world of being connected, please continue to deepen and strengthen the connection that you have to yourself. I believe that the soul needs privacy in which to emerge. And I don't think that when people write on blogs, I think everything is voyeuristic, and that people are performing. We have all this leadership model now as tribal leadership. Well, what people don't understand is how much we are shaped by the people that we try and influence. There's two people that I really want people to pay more attention to. One is Eric Hoffer, who was a social anthropologist, and you know, he said, really, we have no idea how much we're impacted by the people that we're influencing. So there's this, you know, I'm changed by the system changes me, and every system has a homeostasis. Belonging trumps excellence. And we diminish our ability to make the differences we can based on our peer communities. So I say that as an invitation. Please pay more attention to Eric Hoffer. The other is Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote a book about 12 years ago called Power versus Force. I bring this in today because he wrote about different word choices creating different vibrational energies for people. I keep reading about big data. I keep seeing information about you're a node. You know, with your fingerprint, we can find out what you like, what your Facebook profile is. You can have a QR code. And what I think people don't realize is that you're not a node, you're a frequency. And your thoughts and your ideas and your word choices, they do create ripples. They do make impact. I would like people to spend more time privately examining their filters and their word choices and to create more self-respect. I say that your competitive advantage is not where you work or what you do. Your competitive advantage is the accuracy in which you scan the macro, which is really, you know, how well can I truly understand the many designs of reality that are out there, and then how I choose to articulate it, how I choose to use the word choices, and how I choose to act. And I'm hopeful that that the people will be more respectful of themselves and their environments, and I hope that that's how I can make a difference here for the Glocal futures. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. We'll come back later. Georgios is very excited there. I think you have lots of speaking to do. So then we go to our second speaker, Slavika Bogdanov, that I think was yesterday or 2 days ago you started together with some other people a very exciting project, We Change Worlds. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for having me here, Bert-Ola. It's really nice. And it's really actually an honor to be amongst you all. I've listened to you, and I'm sure we're going to have long conversations after this, and apart from this hangout, after we share our thoughts and ideas. I'm very much interested in what you do, Jennifer, because I'm on the same wavelength as you are, if you want to call it. I've been so just to give a very short synopsis of who I am, so I can introduce myself properly. My life has been mostly within entrepreneurship and you know, being self-employed for many years. And I shifted from being a real estate investor, where I wanted to become financially free so I could actually coach people. And I shifted to doing something that I dreamt of doing all my life, which was writing books, coaching, and doing public speaking conferences, both in large audiences and also corporate conferences. So this has been my life, my past life, up to very short time ago. And my subjects of passion, and that's why I joined Jennifer and also Giorgio very much, is that first I'm extremely, I believe enormously in the energy forces that we all have as waves, as humans, and are the thoughts, that the power that our thoughts have, first of all, and then evidently the power that the words have. So I'm in that same kind of mode. I'm working on a book right now called Boost Your Brain Power, and it's really about, you know, how to, it's actually proving to people scientifically what spirituality has known for so long, that we're energy fields and that we can make a whole big difference in the world. We're just changing ourselves from within. And so that on that, and my goal ever since I was very little was to, because I was very much good as a student, I was extremely bored in school, And ever since I was a child, I wanted to revolutionize the educational system. I thought that it was totally, even then, was totally, you know, worthless to spend all my days in school when I could do so much more. Like, I understood what the point was of writing what was on the board, but it was just boring. So nowadays, I find where it's even more obsolete. It's totally finished, that system. So having that in mind, those two very big things that are very important to me. So the aspect of transforming oneself, changing from within to be able to transform and impact the world. And also the fact that I always wanted to higher the conscious level of the world and touch as many people as possible, inspiring them to know that they can actually make a difference in the world. Knowing all of that, I started with Jeremy Flores an idea which was to launch a website that would, the idea at first was to create a website that would educate kids on how they can change the world, how they can make a big difference, to inspire them that no, it's not the end, to inspire them, like I want to believe that it's, you know, a great beginning out there and a lot of things can still be done. So we wanted to create a website to inspire the children that are sometimes, you know, lack of enthusiasm, have less hope in the future, and just show them that there's so much they can do, so much opportunity, just, you know, make them realize that there's enormous potential. And I know for a fact that children down deep, they're so linked to spirit, they're still connected to that energy field, they're still connected to life source. They have much more power than we have, where we're re-educating ourselves into developing that spiritual link and being able to control our thoughts and our words, where they're just connected. So for me, I thought the best way to impact the world positively is to just give that oomph to those children and telling them what to do. And Jeremy had this much more profound thought, which was extremely right. I work when I coach people to teach them actually that they're good enough, that they don't need to change anything, that they're just good at the base. And just by reconnected to that love source, knowing that they're good enough from within, they're already changing the world just by doing that. Because by changing their vibrational state, they will change evidently the way they interact with others. They will be more peaceful. They will need less to prove to others that they're good, that they're this and that. And evidently, just by doing that, the world will know more peace and will change. So because I believe in that so strongly, he said, well, then the website cannot be about teaching people anything, since they have the whole world inside them already. So there's no point into trying to tell them how and why and what to do, but just shine the light on what's already being done. And by just doing that, you will ignite the light that lies within each individual to shine immediately, instantly, and naturally. So that's why we created this website called We Change Worlds, with an S, purposefully, because there's not just one world, there's many of them. It's not because I'm Serbian, I have an accent that I lost my grammar and I added an S along the way. It was purposeful, because kids have many worlds in their minds, in their activity, in their play field. We started this with a real childlike thought and idea, and really with the love. And we wanted to, because we believe the energy is so important, we wanted to put all our love in the project so that it shines itself first, and then put the information in. So basically, it's very simple at first what we want to do, because it's stages. We cannot start a 5-star hotel first. We're starting the little motel. So the idea at first is to start a website that will just shine the light on what the kids are doing good in the world already today, because we believe that there's too much negative information and people don't believe in the good anymore. And that if we shift the attention towards the good, already it's creating more good. So there's that need that I feel that we need to really shift where people are looking, so that they actually realize, oh my God, all of that I never saw before, and start noticing the good in their life. So shining the light on the kids that are already doing something will make them realize how beautiful their own kids are. And we started like on the 12th, and we already received so many people that are telling us that it inspires them. And we just started, and it's really like an embryo of what we can do. So that was the first stage. The second stage was because we still want the kids to do something. That's really the whole point of this. So what I dream of anyway, is to have a forum where kids will actually come and share what they want to do, you know, or what they have done. Like, okay, you know, like 4 girls invented this system to transform pee into electricity, you know. So they go into this platform and they say, well, look, you know, I think we got something going here, you know, and what do you think? And then kids from Colorado can say, well, you know what, we tried this instead, and maybe if we combine, look at what we can do. Kids live in utopia, but their utopia works somehow. They don't have these blockages of the mind saying something will not function. So they're open-minded so much that it works. That's the magic of it. We lost that. So by connecting them together, having maybe just some people that would, you know, moderate the discussions, I believe that what can happen, and that is linked to this Glocal broadcast, what can happen is locally people will be able to change worlds, to change things, to have impact, to actually be able to transform the lives of others, or to act, whether it's cruelty on animals, whether it's to help the environment. Kids will have the ability to do something locally by discussing internationally what has been done. When I see what kids are doing today already, in just the purity of their mind, because they just want to fix a problem, how far they're able to go, and how much money when we say economic crisis, when I see the numbers that these kids can accumulate to help others in other countries, I don't believe that. I believe, you know, as someone said, we are self-sufficient. We need to be that. We need to create our own opportunities. We need to teach the kids to stay with that creative thought, to be able to always create their own opportunities and be self-sufficient in our world that's going to go faster and faster. Education is kaboom. It's finished the way we see it. So for us, this would be the new era of education. It would be educating by communicating knowledge that's already there, wisdom, not only knowledge, but wisdom, meaning I know something, I tried it, and it worked. So here you go, try it now yourself. And I think this will help be very much faster in the development of creative ways to solve problems. I know I'm taking a lot of time, but I'm very passionate about this. I know, but it won't take much long. So for us, it's like, you know, I'm not connected to TV. I'm not connected to any source of negative news from 12 years now. So I have no idea, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know, because I find that we're so focused on what's negative that we don't see anymore the solution. We're so close to the problems, we're not backing up and seeing solutions. And the kids, they're different. They don't have this 40 or 50 or 60 years of baggage of negative news. They come in the world shining, already being linked to energy, being linked to source, and just going like, well, this is your answer. Why are you looking so far? You know, I can do that if you want. And they just get it. So that's what we want. This is our dream. And I want to thank, you know, Bert-Ola and the universe, because ever since we started this, some really, really interesting synchronicity happened. Some very funny things the universe manifest for me and for us. So I just want to thank whatever's out there, and with you guys also. And thank you for being here. And also hope this conversation continues and we together find ways to implement new ways of you know, development, of growth. And local can be really well developed with international knowledge. And thank God that we have internet access now, which gave us that, as you said, the world became so small. And I love it, because before you had to deal with your neighbor, and you know, you had to, you know, that was your limit, right? That was the limit. You made a corner store, and you had to be friendly with your neighbors, and that was it. You married your next door neighbor, you lived in your little town, But now we're befriending people from all over the planet, not because we have to, but because we want to, and because we have the same interests and the same goals. And that, for me, already is a winning thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll continue the discussion, and there are lots of things for you to connect up with here. Now we can see that Sarvan Mosoon has joined here from London, I think you are in.
Hello, everybody.
She is the creator of Ubuntu Network, a woman entrepreneurship network, and I have followed what you are doing. It's a really amazing things there, so tell about it.
Okay. Sorry to be late. I had to put my son to bed, and he wanted a lot of stories tonight, of course. So apologize. I'm French originally, so I've been traveling a lot until going through the Netherlands, Brazil, until I settled here in London almost 10 years ago. And I developed an organization that supports and connects women social innovators, and there is also a network attached to that. But the network is necessary to actually to make things happen, simply because not everything has got to go through me. But we believe in peer support, in peer connections, in peer mentoring, and the team I'm working with, we're just there to, to encourage people to talk a little bit more or to talk differently. So we work with social entrepreneurs, as we call them in the UK. We work with network and campaign leaders, people who might not have a commercial any commercial aspect in their ventures, but they just have to create awareness around all sorts of causes. And we work also with intermediaries, people who enable other business or other ventures to thrive and to create a bigger social impact. So, 3 categories of individuals and organizations who have all a shared interest in sustainable and social change. And we've decided to opt for the gender lens, simply because I think that women, by being more visible and more connected, can actually reach an even bigger social impact. And sometimes they do a lot of things, sometimes in the shadows, and we ought to know more about what they do. So that's, in a nutshell, the work we're doing. And my interest in Glocal things is, well, I've demonstrated that throughout my life, is I was feeling always ever so close to people who had traveled a lot, not only physically but in their heads. And I don't know, I've got strong emotions to share with when people are on the other side of the planet. There are the windows of the world, and they are the witnesses of what's happening on the other side of the planet. And by connecting with people who are far away, for instance, I am able to look at my own community differently. I'm able to look at my own issues differently. So I thrive. I love that the long distance and the short distance. I love to have that sort of dichotomy in my own life, and I try to share that with the people that work with me or whom I'm working with. That's me. It's very short.
It's a long. So what are your plans for the next coming months or in the coming year or so? I think you're working on everything from setting up startup funds to.
Okay, well, we've got we are with a colleague of mine called Bonnie Folly Wong, who's based in Vancouver. Hey, why not? As far away as possible. We are developing a leadership development training for women who want to become activist angels. Now, you could say there's a lot of angels training around there already, but there might not be angels training that actually look at the skills you need when you want to be an angel, the leadership skills that you need. So we want to grow a cohort of angels that already that exist already by training more women accessorily in becoming activist angels. So we hijacked the term activist back from the hedge funds, and we put it back where it belongs, meaning in the campaigners world and the social entrepreneurs world, and we put it back to the world angels. So activist angels are women who are patient, who invest knowledge, social and financial capital into other social entrepreneurs. So that's the plan for next year. And of course, we've got the Women's Social Leadership Awards. They are launched. So if you know amazing women social innovators in the categories I've mentioned earlier, who needs an accolade, who needs to be seen by the mainstream, please encourage them to apply. And if anyone is interested, I'm happy to share the process and explain outside this conference. And it's great. It's very exciting. So there more of this time, but at scale.
So thank you very much, Ursula. I think Kelvin and Krista there has been waiting for quite some time now. But when you listen to all the speakers here, what is your reflection from what you hear? Is it something that resonates with you, or is it very different, or?
We are here. We got disconnected, but can you hear us now?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this hits us on so many fronts. So we spoke first, and I'm so happy to hear each person's passion. And Jennifer, when everybody started speaking, I'm on fire, because that's the world that I really resonate from. And so there are so many crossovers here with personal passions that we're doing. For instance, with women, there's a place that I'm working on I call Moms Moving Markets. I work with I'm connected to a lot of mothers around the world who have children who are not neurotypical, from autism to all kinds of things. And these women are very powerful. They know what's happened to their families and their children, and they are activists beyond belief. And they are having to go up against the norm. They're having to go up against the structures that have told them otherwise. They are very passionate, they are very angry, and they are very loving all at the same time. And they have solutions to what's happening. They're healing their children, and at the same time, they are reaching out their hands to others to make sure that families that find out that there's a problem with a child start off from an entirely new place and not from what they've been told. So I'm connected. There's a group called the Thinking Moms Revolution, which is absolutely an amazing group of women. So that's one place. Another place is that we've been working on something that we call the Social Innovation Entrepreneur Roadshow. And one of our partners, our main partner, is a hotel company called Kimpton Hotels. They have about 50+ hotels here in the States. And part of what we've been trying to find a way to be able to bring we have the place, the land in all the communities, but with the hotels, but we don't have the structure around how this could be most beneficial from the global local perspective. And so part of Bert-Ola, when we had talked, was about how do we land in these communities in the States, like Salt Lake City, Los Angeles, Seattle, Minneapolis, Miami, Chicago, New York, Boston. How do we land at the places that we have and bring in the right mix of things to help these communities that are local and be connected globally? And when we were bringing in the kids aspect, this was really important because we are connected to communities of people in these places, but how do we create the right hybrid to bring in what we need? How do we get these kids to innovate from the local problems, create solutions that are the right ones there, but then connect out from there to other kids around the world that are doing something similar, and be able to co-create solutions. And like you were saying before, here's what we did, here's what's working, and offer that up to kids here in the States. Because kids in the States are really more victims of the media and the hype, and even social innovation now here is becoming social media and social innovation is becoming more about just who you're connected to and what you can buy. And that, for me, that's not the purpose of what we're trying to do here. So these kids are being impacted by things that I'd like to see change. So they're still not connecting to their powerful creativity for change. They're being connected to how smart they are and what they can buy. And that, from where we are, we're trying to change that up. We're trying to bring families and communities to see the problem as they see it, not influenced by what they're told it is, and be able to co-create new solutions from there, as opposed to, external telling them. It's more like internal and then pushing out. Does that make sense to what how we're feeding back?
It's very interesting there, because you're moderating a lot of talks in this space of investing, innovation, the mother of innovation in Silicon Valley and San Francisco. What is your impression of the last 15, 20 years, if you look back at what has... is there a transformation going on there in this innovative space?
There is a huge transformation going on. The interesting thing is that I think from where we sit, being right here in the Valley, connected to people who are now the new gurus of this, like Steve Blank and Eric Ries from the design.
Lean startup, and Steve Blank is startup. There's a massive movement towards startups in California and in America right now. Everybody wants to have a startup, but there's this strange dynamic between the people that want to have a startup just to become wealthy, and now the whole social capital movement that people want to have a startup to make a decent living, but not necessarily to have to be healthy rich. Now, what's happening that we're seeing is, even with the VCs in the Valley, so we live in San Francisco, but we're connected to Silicon Valley with the work that we do as well. What we're seeing is that more and more mainstream VCs and mainstream and the people who are somewhat on the cutting edge are more interested in how can we have a triple bottom line than just how can I get filthy rich myself. And so the answer to your question is, it's changing, it's infiltrating, and the people want to feel engaged on every level.
But there's an inflection point. There has to be clear at this point around how things choose to move forward, because the same situation that launched the web and launched the internet and the power that opened up at one point is at the same to be careful about who the manipulation that can occur, the getting people excited only to draw them in to again, the startup from the mentality of just making money. It's very interesting. It's a beautiful opening now to keep driving this towards really solving problems and bringing beautiful solutions in, as opposed to just being drawn in to the excitement and the hype of the whole thing. And it's very interesting in the Valley. We've been at a bunch of conferences the last week, and to see where those things are rubbing up against each other, and to make sure that and I heard the innovator dilemma that Clayton Christensen, who I was talking to recently, and part of what he was saying was that the best innovations solve for a problem, and he wasn't yet convinced that Facebook is the best innovation because it never really doesn't solve for a problem as they're even moving forward. So yes, it's good in one way because it opens up millions of people to be connected, but the solving for a problem from that design perspective is so important. It's so critical. So that's an interesting piece that we see now. So,
one question more there. Do you see a shift in business models if you look at the startup landscape? If you compare 10, 15 years ago startups with today, is there more sustainability in the core of the business idea, or what is your opinion?
I think yes, in some ways. Steve Blank has been very, very good at moving this forward. He actually has a whole online course now that he's going to be doing with Udacity in connection there. One piece that he talks about, and he keeps referring to the book about business model generation, and I forget the author of that, but the piece that he keeps putting out is keep create your own business model. If you know these 9 different areas of what you're trying to do, if you have an understanding of that, your business model will be crafted specifically around what you need and what you're doing and the problem you're solving. And so we see this has become a big new buzzword in Silicon Valley. Now, at the same time, there's something very interesting happening with venture capitalists that did not happen up until the last couple of years. VCs always remained in the background. They always kept quiet in terms of how they were seen and having a face. VCs are now choosing to have a face. They're choosing to be out there speaking. They like the limelight. They're happy to be talking now in a way that they never did before. So it's very interesting to see how they're coming out of the closet, so to speak, about being very quiet and keeping a distance, now having a voice. That to me also signals that VCs can be now spoken to in a way. I like, I'm not sure who was talking about, I think it was Jennifer, was saying what we choose to put out and what's happening to us as we choose to engage with other and how it's changing us. And I think this is very important because now there's access to VCs in a way that there wasn't, just by virtue of being in places where they are, and how they invest is still not, how they invest and choose to invest is still very old-fashioned. They're still coming from the old model. But the new models are growing up around them. The new models can push them, I believe, to investing and thinking about investing in new ways that they really can't sort out yet because they're still coming from the old model of where they came from.
Okay.
I think, yes, the answer is there are a lot of new business models being explored, sustainable models, new ways of doing things, much smaller organizations, not as much build the next Facebook, but really building larger things. Also, finding angel investing is becoming extremely important. So people are not going to VCs immediately, but going to angel rounds and having a much more personal relationship. So it's always been about relationships. Because of that, there's an ability to do different kinds of thinking.
Okay, so thank you very much there. You can hang on and tweet a little bit on #GlocalFuture. There is a tweet chat there, and give me some comments maybe. I can hear some noise in the background. There is someone who has not muted the microphone. It's okay. Anyway, so we go to Lapland Bullrim that has been listening to this, and you have been part of this process here for several years. You have been a SOCAP in San Francisco. You have been giving presentation in Amsterdam. And I think it's quite amazing that a village in the North Sweden has invested that much in knowledge and in this new space. So what if you look back at the last 4 years, what has this given you? What is your impression so far to be part of this Glocal society development?
I think that it's been a lot of learning, but it also have learned us that this small village has something to contribute with, and that is common sense. It is so natural that we didn't understand that it was something to share, and that is one of the things.
And the natural thing to collaborate as equals in the society is as one part, and as I said earlier, to contribute with no borders between different ages or education or between people. It's like a training to understand that everybody actually is equal and go from there.
And while working with this, everybody has to, based on common sense, start from critical needs in a small society. We can't afford actually that we don't take care of tasks, and we can't afford to put people outside the possibility to engage in something. So then it's opening up for the most natural thing in the world, to connect to each other by contributing and doing things together. So I think that's one part of the dialogue today, earlier on the Glocal Future workshop. And a workshop that will be continued in April as a conference, more wider and going deeper and further on this issue.
And it's also amazing to see how many, all over the globe, these local actions and grassroots is growing and growing and growing. And my sense is that will shift the whole society system. That feels very, very good.
And business as usual is not longer any longer business as usual. It will, and it comes new ways of doing it day by day.
Okay, so thank you very much. Giorgio, how could we understand this big transformation of the last, I think you have been around now to give some overview. What is it you see out there? What is the big thing happening in the society? Or is it a big thing, or is it a natural thing in evolution?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, I am an optimist. I think many changes are coming out from societies. From 20 years to now, the people is not longer so worried about capital, but is far more interested in software, in knowledge creation, knowledge gathering, knowledge synthesizing, everything about knowledge, not just information or data, but human knowledge, or how humans take knowledge in their hands and put forward solutions, actionable knowledge. And that the people is interested and worried about. And they are learning fast, very fast indeed. They are learning faster every month because they have learned to be connected. They have learned to be in a peer-to-peer always, all the time. They have learned to build alliances, local, regional, national, and international. And they are interested in entrepreneurial activities, in management. But not just for enterprising, but for organizing the community and society, for building a swarm of organization, of civil organization, filling every gap in society. Everybody has to be organized in club and many other initiatives. And they're looking for that. And they're looking for social entrepreneurs, but as social leaders, to be able to put forward entrepreneurial activities in education, in health, in local food, in local economies, in local finance, in crowdsourcing, and etc. Social entrepreneur they are looking for is the leader in complex time. They realize they live in complexity, and they're looking for leader into that complex time to deal with uncertainty. And that's something new. They are learning to do it, and they are looking for those social entrepreneurs. Not just the entrepreneur going for profit, but for social profit, for the community profit, for the village profit. I have seen a great change of people interested in reorganizing the health, reorganizing school and college and universities, and reorganizing the local food market, and reorganizing almost everything. They don't care so much about capital anymore. They are a society running for software, in the sense that software is a way to take knowledge and to put it into action. That is a very interesting phenomenon. And you can see everywhere people building alternatives. There are small alternative little worlds everywhere. Not even fighting with the mainstream. Just feeling the vacuum that has been created in this embedded by vested interests. I think this is a new time. I am glad to be here. I think this is a very interesting initiative, and I'm very happy to be here with you. Thank you all, and thank you, Bert-Ola, for inviting me.
So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to some deeper discussions with you on this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jennifer, what's your, now you have, when you have reflected a little bit about what you heard?
Well, again, I feel really honored to be part of this conversation. I think the thing I'd like to leave with is a request. I know many of us facilitate or work with people that are doing e-learning or doing a lot of videos. In fact, I think Presente had a really beautiful online event about education, and there was a gentleman from Pakistan who was doing a lot of teaching online through videos. And I think my request is that when we curate videos and put things forward, that we work on having them as diverse as possible. You know, maybe think no matter what we do, have 5 countries involved. Look at the balance of gender. I think we're really, our self-esteem is impacted by the images that we see and who models for us. And I think we all, because we are aware, we are actually teachers to people about inclusion and preparing people. I think there are subtle ways in which we can impact what gets in front of people. And so I just ask you to remind people that are doing e-learning platforms to make sure that they look at their deck, make sure there's quotes from both men and women, make sure that there's a fair representation of the collective that we're hoping to foster. That's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Can you give a rough calculation how many women are here?
Hey.
I love this. I have a friend who told me the most beautiful thing. She said, Jennifer, this is not the age of the power or the battle of the sexes. It's really about the balancing of the sexes. And I think every male and female needs to be both male and female. You know, we have to be linear. We have to be emotional. We have to embody all that's good and all that's strong. And so I think that's, and I applaud you, Bert, and the whole team that put it together, that I do feel that this is a great multicultural representation. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And here is the Sarvan, who's a little bit dark there behind, but I think you're still in excellent energy. You're doing this Brazilian judo dance as well.
Martial arts, yeah. It's called capoeira.
Yeah, yeah. What has that to do with women entrepreneurship?
It looks good. It looks good. Now, the funny thing is, capoeira, you can always find an excuse to do it, and even if you can't do it, you can always play music, or you can, what it is doing it, you can sing it, you can be there with your full presence. And actually, even when you're not doing it, capoeira is there to remind you about the importance of each individual in a group. So it's not about team spirit and all that jazz, but it's about the importance of each individual and the way each individual can influence the rest of a group with their energy, with their goodwill, with their influence of some sorts, with their support. And capoeira always teaches me that. It teaches you to stand up, to fall, to stand up again. It teaches you that there's no loser, no winner. There's always conversations, impactful conversations. Now, it can be positive or negative impact, but it reminds you that it's an ongoing thing. It never stops. So the links with women social entrepreneurs, it's basically, I'm not sure if anyone can follow me at that moment because I'm in my own world when I talk about capoeira, but it's a great, but bottom line, it's a great metaphor to remind us about how we should keep going as individuals and in teams. Great energy story. That was a bit cryptic.
Yeah. And you are just also in some developing a group in Brazil. How is this? I don't really get that. Is it you're involved in Brazil in one way and London in another way, or?
Oh, if I'm involved, no. Back in a long time ago, I used to support a Brazilian that capoeira group in the Netherlands, and used to raise awareness about community development initiatives in Brazil through capoeira. That's all my world started to develop.
Okay.
And and then I realized that by doing capoeira, so you raise people's attention because they're all fascinated by what the acrobatics you're doing is. Actually, you can start good conversations. I did a lot of work in Brazil, and that didn't only involve capoeira. So I'm not sure where we're going with this question, but now I just did a lot of work in Brazil with the activism, with the community development, and artists as well.
How do you look upon the future? Do you have a positive view, or what will happen in the coming 20, 30 years? Are you hopeful?
For what? For Brazil? For all of us?
No. For the common, for the development in general.
Well, I'm a firm believer in biomimicry. So if each one of us spread our goodwill, our good energy, with our neighbors, if we coach each other into doing more of what we do, basically, we're communicating, we learn, we laugh, we cry, we're feeling more alive, feeling more humans. If we engage our communities into being more human, more alive like that, I think I'm very optimistic. We're more likely to spread good habits. If each one of us today at the hangout just pledges to talk, I mean, we're doing that already, but pledges to talk tomorrow about 5 people who don't have the same capacity to communicate, for instance, who don't have the same means to understand about social innovation or community development or things like that, or sustainable change. If we pledge to be clear about these things to people who have least access to this understanding on this knowledge or this information, then we spread the world, basically. What we need to do is to get out of our own bubble sometimes, to and because it's easy. And by doing that, this is the only way that people will understand that there's more to life than just buying stuff now or for Christmas. And we just need to make the message clearer and reach to the fringes of our networks and talk to the people who are hard to talk to. That's how I see it. So I don't know if it's going to work, but at least we try. We make it our daily routine.
We do our best.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I'll try to be clear as the way I am now. At least that's my pledge. But.
Okay. So, Slavika, what is your reflection of the discussion so far?
Well, if I may say, I think as I was listening to you all, I had this flash suddenly. I traveled a lot and came to Canada, and I just remember, I used to write to my best friend, and it took 3 weeks to let her to get there and to come back. And today I'm listening to all of you, and suddenly I had this tremendous awareness of how fast we're traveling through time and through space and through minds. And I believe that we receive the gift of communicating with these tools because we're too dumb to be telepathic, and hopefully that will come soon enough. But I would conclude that this is maybe the beginning, and that there's a lot of tools. I heard a lot of things that were really interesting, and I agree, to the fact that our minds. First of all, I agree that I think Jennifer was talking about reality and what's real and not, and I believe that this is the age of being unrealistic, of not really anymore believing in reality. I mean, this is all. First of all, reality is only a conception that we have in our brain, so that is so easily transformed. But I see, and with what Mr. Giorgio was saying also about the fact that people are learning faster and faster, when I thought of that little girl sending a letter that waited 3 weeks to get an answer, and the whole world had changed in 3 weeks. And today, like, we can't wait for like half a second for a text to come back, or we get like an ulcer and whatever. So our minds are getting like so expensive and so fast. I'm surprised, like I find that even myself, we're learning faster and faster, and we're communicating faster, and we're getting almost hooked to the multitasking of multi-level social media intercommunications, which I never believed that I could get hooked on and actually see so much leverage possible through that. At first, when I got in Facebook, I was kind of thought it was just so lame, and then I realized the social leverage that we can have in impacting the world on so many different questions and so many resolving so many issues nowadays with just a click of a mouse. So for me, this conversation brings even more optimism into what is possible, and also it's always it's always good for the ego to find people who think the same way. Say, okay, I'm not alone in this. There's many others that are feeling the same way and thinking the same. So that feels good. And to know, yes, that our minds are so expensive, and that by, like you said at the beginning, that by just interacting and by using the tools you have that are material local tools, and then implementing that into communication systems and internet to link those local tools you have with the hotels and all you were saying that you have links to, and all these students or schools and whatever, and have them transform their minds on a local level, seeing what's been done on an international level. And I am 100% certain, there's not a doubt, a molecule of doubt in my entire soul, body, and spirit that think that when a kid, even if he's thrilled with social media, even if he's thrilled with rocket ships, even if he's thrilled with whatever material little game thing has been put in his hands by society and by the consumerism, there's not a doubt in my mind that when that kid starts seeing how cool it is to change the world, like dump that little toy that is meaningless, and actually instead of playing hero on Game Boy, playing hero out in the world for real, there's not a doubt in my mind that that kid will drop his toy and start actually doing something that has real meaning, because kids are all the same. It's just what we implement in their brain to believe, their reality we create. And as I just said, we're in the world of non-reality, of irreality. So if we can change our own reality, it's so easy to change the reality of the child and of those kids, and tell them, well, instead of watching heroes in the movies, why don't you become one? We facilitate that for you, and let's see if you can do that, become a real hero instead of playing Game Boy and just playing numbers. Let's see what you can really do. And I'm sure that then the challenge will be there, and they'll take that challenge, and I'm sure they will do tremendous things for the world. And that is my hope, because if it's not that, like, sincerely, like, I come to the point where I don't listen to the news and I hear the bad stuff. So for me, it's like this is the time, and I believe that the universe is concurring with us, is saying, yes, it's time, so let's give them all the tools they can have to make a change, a shift for the best. So now that we have the tools, I think, we can use them, and really, and I'm glad I was part of this, and I know it's just the start. We're going to have awesome other conversations and emails amongst each other and build on that. So thank you again, and hope we get together on an individual base to see how we can grow this.
Thank you very much. Willy Scholl there in the background, he has been amazingly working on this Living Bridges platform over the last months, and I think he has some ideas and maybe some reflections. He has written about the social wave, as he call it, that we are going social in many perspectives. What is your impression of today?
Oh, a lot of impressions. And first I have to say a lot of great minds and more great hearts, which is at least as important. And I appreciate the very personal style, especially of Jennifer Sertle. And yeah, so many ideas, and thinking about what's the focus, what's it all about. And I just checked our new claim. We had a first claim of the Living Bridges Planet Group and changed it some time ago, and I just read it. Living Bridges Planet is a global facilitator network inspired by strength-based and social capital approaches to enable change. And the other part of the story was, in our interdependent and hyper-connected world, we perceive the growing relevance of trust, reciprocity, global-local engagement to tackle the global and local challenges. So this is what the group is all about, and it was a great pleasure with Bert-Ola to see it grow and to build this ecosystem with different channels, to make, of course, mistakes and have a lot of learnings. And shortly for my background, because most of you do not know me, I'm doing foresight since 1995. This means to be about analyzing trends, forecasts, thinking about scenarios, how the world is going, what are the development lines, the trend lines of the whole world, or a branch, or a single organization, or enterprise. And I came up some years ago to go from this analyzing to the synthesizing. And so Bert-Ola identified me somehow in the networks and hooked me up to the Social Capital World Forum. Last year I was in the Vorarlberg in Austria and met him first time, and some other guys, especially the founders. And I think the social capital approach is something which is totally natural for two reasons. First, we are on the road to a world network society. And on the other hand, it's a possibility to have more flow in the values of knowledge, the values of wisdom, as Julie Tran said in the tweet chat. And yeah, the flow, of course, of monetary, of what we assume as economic metabolism with nature. And so I think it's absolutely necessary to see this solution space where we are now just meeting there in this hangout for a reason. We are just a kind of meeting point of our own biographies here in this hangout because our affinity is about this transformation. And when I think about what's the essence of the challenges ahead, because despite all these hopeful movements we are witnessing in these times, there's on the other side a shockingly stagnation and even kind of backlash maybe at some places of the world, especially in the politician's mind maybe. And so the more it is important to see our resources and what it means to rewire and redesign our networks to be more efficient. And as I said, when I think about what's the essence of it, I think we are just on the point to change the era of the economical rationality to the ecological rationality. So despite all this maybe divergence, the diversity in the worldview, maybe some spiritual convergence, but sometimes maybe diversity in the approaches, the essence is that we just cannot deal any longer like this with this planet, and on the other hand, we cannot go back. So we have to bring this society and technology forces in a totally new constellation together, and we are part of this experiment, I think. And what we've done now with the Living Bridges planet is to create a space to facilitate the bridging, to facilitate even the digital and digital bridging and digital bonding. For instance, I had an experience, if I may say that, in the Jelly Week of last year, of this year, in January, and it was a real experience to find a collaboration with Xaver England from Switzerland, without never having met him in the physical space. So this is feasible because we have now the infrastructure to make friends in this infrastructure, and going from social networks to social collaboration networks. And if we would not have this possibility, a huge solution space for our global problems would be missing. And so I'm really hopeful, because at the same time our challenges are growing, really shockingly growing. On the other side, we have this new facilitation spaces, and creating a lot of empathy, trust, and even hope, like with hangouts like these, I think. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I think to summarize up there was a good summarization. We will have many upcoming events here. This was the first real. We have tried and tested, of course, a few times, but this was the premiere, and we just launched it 2 days ago. So we will continue on the 30th of December with Bridging into 2013. That topic will be a lot of social media, web platforms that is transforming and developing right now. We will later have impact investment, we will have social entrepreneurship, the peer economy, startups, we will be part of the Bangalore Startup Festival, and some other great stuff next year. So hope you will stay with us and connect up as we do and bridge the world into hopefully a better one. So thank you very much, and continue to tweet there out and make some comments on Facebook as well, and Google maybe. So thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And if anyone is planning to be in San Francisco, we hope to connect with you anywhere in California, in fact.
Thank you, and goodbye also from here in Lapland. We brought you out in the snow here, so you see one of these famous ice lanterns.
Ah, excellent.
And tomorrow we're starting, one of the local village companies are starting the Blue Light Festival, which will run through the weekend and end on Monday. But thank you all for having a nice time, and we look forward to continue, and all the best.
Bye.
Great, that's beautiful.
Wow. Lapland.
See you. Bye-bye.
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 Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye to all.
Bye.